Hey gang. So the Cycle of Strife in Diablo Immortal is the factional mechanics behind the game. The struggle against Hell's minions uh, by shadows, immortals and adventurers alike. The three different factions within the game. In this video I'll be discussing the immortal aspect, or the mechanics and gameplay content for that faction. So this is viewing the Eternal Scroll, which you'll receive at level 43, which I'll briefly show, and anyone can pause if they wanted to have a read. A story regarding the Immortals, and also the emergence of the shadows. So this is a scroll you receive at level 43, at which point you can sort of participate in that process. Prior to that, you'll be considered an adventurer. And first of all, take a look at the history of the cycle for this alpha. And I'll start back at the beginning. So this is the original Immortal Reign, which had begun when we first entered the server. It's basically NPC characters, assigned roles, probably based on test developers and testers, I'd imagine. This is the overview, and Chronicle shows dates and various events that occurred during that reign period of time. So these weren't actual players playing these roles, and once this reign was overthrown, began the first player reign, so to speak, led by Zachi, which was formerly House Silk, Shadow House, which was the top ranked house when the Right of Exile was won, becoming the Immortals. Certainly like to first of all just thank all of the lieutenants, Immortal, and the players themselves for the time that they had to put in to communicate to everyone within the faction, to try and organise things, be as fair as possible. I certainly enjoyed playing that and learning how it all works, and I do quite enjoy the theme of how the factions interact, and certainly providing some feedback about improvements that I think that can be made. So from the first player reign, you're able to see here they can assign a declaration, which basically goes up on this wall as a record. Talks about founders. So this was the original house. Here we have like the ranks of the leaders or lieutenants assigned prior to. There's like a 5-day tutorial in which a few quests sort of introduce you to the faction and how it works. Then you get your bling, your cape, and any lieutenants assigned within this period become marked as founders, and the lieutenants will have titles. So you can see there was only one lieutenant assigned at that point for the first reign, and then all of the members of the house at the time of the overthrow are logged as founders. These lieutenants, of course, can be changed over time. To my knowledge, there's no way to, say, assign leadership from the Immortal to another lieutenant, and they're not able to leave the faction either, which you'll see later in the roles for each member. You can select these heroes. You can see I believe it's their current equipment. yeah, as you can see, the image of them is when they were assigned the role, what gear they were wearing, but by looking at them now, you can see the differences that they're currently using. So you can see what they're using, information here, all of the same things you can see from any character you interact with in the game, send messages, and cycle history. This is a way of measuring how a character performed during a cycle, which is from the end of the previous cycle to its conclusion. Here is a description about how the cycle history is measured, which gives you a title, shows the title, the date, sorry. And as far as I know, these actual buffs stack, or it would appear to. It doesn't seem to indicate a time frame. It might be possible that your most recent title is applied to your character. We don't currently know. And again, the Chronicle for the Reign, which shows the events that occurred during the period of the Immortal Reign. So being 6 weeks, there was a fair bit more activity. And here we can also see a leaderboard which measures the success of a reign by the weeks held and also dominance, which I'll get into shortly. So this is the current reign for 1 week after the previous overthrow. Again, here you'll see a difference. There were 4 lieutenants assigned that will be logged here, so these won't change. However, the lieutenants on the wall can change as people are rotating there. Again, the Immortal can write up some sort of declaration which will stay there, and the founding members being the members of the house at the time of the overthrow. And that's about all from that. So I'll get into the actual, and again here you have an indication of how long the cycle is to end. Showing here will show daily goals for being an immortal, which I'll go into from the activities. So the first thing is an overview of being immortal. I'll just show these quickly and I'll talk about them briefly. Here we have weekly status. So these are the rewards that can be gained through achieving activities, and the actual rewards themselves based on the rank of the faction, how much you've participated measured in prestige, and also contribution to defending the vault. Or these are the rewards assigned, from the vault on a weekly basis. So you will earn Essentia, Raw Essentia, which is shown up here. The longer you're immortal, once Crown is ranked, or the faction is ranked to a certain point, you can also buy additional Raw Essentia from the Honor Merchant. Dominance is the measurement of success of a reign to compare with other reigns. And Essentia, precious resources used to launch Kion's Ordeal. So that's the raid feature, which can grant significant dominance, as well as a blessing, which provides three rewards, additional rewards from doing Elder Rifts. That blessing, once an ordeal is completed, lasts 3 days, I believe. And from that period on, if a Kion ordeal isn't performed by the faction, then that blessing is passed on to the Shadows, and they, by doing 3 Elder Rifts within that period, are able to get a little bit of additional loot. So this shows what you gain as an individual member by contributing Raw Essentia. Adds 36 dominance to the reign, 10 contribution points, which are measured for your weekly rewards in the vault, as well as the life cycle rank you achieve at the end of a cycle that was shown from one of the characters on the wall. So contributing here, you can see the rewards pop up. So I'll quickly just touch on the rank of the house itself. So that provides benefits to each of its members. The rank also determines the capacity, of which can reach up to 500 at the maximum. There are also crowns given to the Immortal, as well as the lieutenants, which will provide certain benefits that do improve as the Immortal reign ranks up. I'll go into that shortly. Here's an overview of dominance. So the status of the house itself, or the faction. The benefits currently gained by the strategy used. Members. And so I'll come back to strategy. So the strategy can be selected by the Immortal. The consecration power, that increases dominance, which essentially you'll rank faster this way. Bolster the vault. Makes it difficult for the Shadows, more difficult for the Shadows to raid the vault, which is an activity they have. I've shown in previous video. And that can be ranked continuously, so the longer it's held, the more difficult it will become over time. But from my experience, it's still not terribly difficult to be able to go through. Probably the hardest thing is actually for the Shadows to sort of communicate amongst each other to help people understand how to beat it successfully without a great deal of risk, and also get the maximum benefit of the rewards for them doing so. Reward loyalty. So this will increase 10% per day, which improves how much you contribute, what prestige you'll get per week, as well as additional Essentia. So when you're contributing raw Essentia, you'll be contributing more to this amount held by the faction as a whole. I believe so each, as you rank the crown as well, the ordeal difficulties can increase. So if we go here, you can see the various ranks of the crown, which I'll show briefly the benefits of. So after the few days of the initial reign commencing, that's when you receive the cloak. And other benefits. So you'll receive loot as it ranks up as well. More bling. Improved rewards week by week. And so elites are a role assigned to members that allows them to participate in Kion's ordeal, which can be initiated by any of the lieutenants or immortal, providing enough Essentia is in the vault. We start to see the statue take form. Again, improved commendation rewards at the end of the week. More treasure. And as the crown ranks, further additional items can be obtained through the honor merchant. Increasing rewards. Improved combat efficiency, so better buffs which are applied throughout gameplay, whether it's PvP or PvE content. So improved abilities for the crowns. More treasure. Improvement to cloaks. Again, that's a visual feature. New difficulty of Kion's ordeal. From experience playing last time, and we're going to do a Kion ordeal under the new reign tonight. You know, the early levels, considering what's required to become the faction, they're relatively simple. The early levels, but they can become fairly difficult. I believe the last reign we were doing level 5 Kion raids. So again, more buffs, crown improvements. New difficulty of Kion. Leader cloak. New difficulty. Further buffs. Treasure. New items in the honor merchant. Okay. So you can start to see and perhaps recognize the different benefits that accumulate. And the final, higher treasure, further improvements on the crown. And this would be the maximum capacity of membership at 500. So that's all measured from the dominance. And if we come back to strategy, so we'll start with the crown, which we showed before. Here again is the bonus from the strategy, and you can see, of course, the rank of the vault. Now, the vault over time will have equipment added. So far, a lot of the equipment we're finding is a bit underwhelming. As you can see, this is level 25 gear. That's a rare, but a lot of the and these can be looted from chests from shadows during raids, but it's still a rare drop for vault items. Gold will be stolen, honor, and essentia during vault raids, providing they're not prevented by death in the vault. Okay. You can see losses. We've just begun the reign, so there aren't any members to the Shadow faction currently. And these items can be chosen by players as part of their rewards. Now, it is an interesting system how members are essentially competing for the best, or what items they prefer from here as rewards at the end of the week. But the one solution to that is good communication. Once people sort of get used to the system, if it was to launch like this unchanged, it would certainly benefit people from each class that are wanting certain items from each one to decide amongst themselves how they will make their selections, so that they don't end up competing. Instead, if we can find, so if there's a highly desirable item in here, it's quite likely there will be several people already applying for it, and whoever sort of achieves a high contribution will get first choice. And Essentia, an overview of that. How much earned today, stolen, and the current or difficulty of Kion able to be activated, and the cost of that. So if you go to activities, these are the things that can be done within the faction. A little overview of dominance, daily goals, defending the vault, Kion's ordeal, and the Rite of Exile, which, if held, reign continues, and if not, the reign is overthrown. The top Shadow House becomes the new Immortal faction, and all other players are disbanded to adventurers. So the members themselves, and here, if you look at any member, you can see where they've gained their contribution. You can order by online or groups assigned. Roles, so lieutenants are the leaders. Elites are allocated in order to enter into Kion's ordeal and participate there, of which we currently have a notice for 8 o'clock. Now, particularly useful, obviously there's benefits to being able to communicate outside of the game, so groups will have Discord servers and things like that to be able to organize themselves, but there are some features in the game to assist with that as well. So groups can be assigned names of the groups, leaders, and this can simplify, communicating how things work to people. So here we've got the lieutenant, who's basically creating this group, talking to people so that the Immortal doesn't have to do everything. And I believe this group will be sort of rotating those roles as well as lieutenants to make things a bit easier for people. So it's definitely helpful to utilize this feature to just make communications easy, which can be quite difficult in the game with the direct message system and chat scroll for the faction chat channels. I've shown a video previously about how the vault works, and just a quick overview of daily activities. So you will gain certain rewards based on the activities: Essentia, Raw Essentia, XP, gold, and equipment. And each of these can vary. You can see some of the sort of easier, simpler ones, lower rewards, and these can change as well. So now that we're able to perform Kion ordeals, that quest can appear in here, which at the moment is quite difficult if you don't have enough Essentia or there's not enough active players contributing to be able to run them, let alone make sure that everyone who got the quest can achieve it. And also, if the strategy is aligned with the vault, increasing its rank, there are 2 other quests that can appear for successfully defending the vault and also for defeating one of the shadows within the vault, and that can be quite difficult to achieve depending on your availability on a mobile game and when the activity of the shadows are trying to raid the vault, as well as how successful they are at avoiding detection once in the vault. It is relatively simple in a full party to clear the vault without being detected, so that makes it quite difficult to achieve some of those tasks. Dungeons, Rift, and unlike bounties, these can't be changed or discarded. So if you get the particularly lengthy dungeons, it can be a bit frustrating. I think everyone's favourite dungeon is probably Rapids. You'd want that every day. And of course the rewards that you'll get for achieving milestones of contribution and activity. So that's it for the Immortal faction. If you're currently playing the alpha or perhaps watching this in beta, I imagine there might be a few changes come beta and certainly full release. I'll try and keep comments updated if those changes are minor, or perhaps publish a new video. Have a good one.